to find a silver lining on any of this that's going on with Mack Rhodes. But I do want to I just want to reflect on the work he's done so far at Baylor, because right now, he's embroiled in what you would call a scandal, right? And let's just take a look back at his career at Baylor. And I worked up a timeline here, spent too much time doing this, and I'm sure I've left some stuff off, but so in July of 2016, he gets hired. And when Matt got hired, the university, the athletic department was embroiled in a scandal much greater than this one, right? The sexual assault issues were all over the news, and somebody needed to right the ship. And Mack brought a new era to Baylor, right? And there was institutional stability right after his appointment. And that was coupled with like a competitive ambition, right? And you felt that at Baylor, and you knew that it was going to be a minute, but you felt the tide turning. And it turned rather quickly with Matt Rhule. I mean, I was in that stadium for their first game against Liberty, where they lost. And I always find it interesting, like he's a brand new coach taking over. And it was after, Jim Grobe was the 2016 season, right, Scotty? Right.
Correct.
Yeah. So Jim Grobe took over for Art and, did the best he could. But, Matt Rhule did a tremendous job as a head coach, and Mack had his fingerprints all over that, right? And then under Mack's direction, you had a national championship on the women's side. Whether you like Kim Mulkey or not, that happened on his watch, right? And so whatever he had to do to keep that running, he ran it to another title, right? And then on the basketball court, 2 years later, you get a national men's basketball title. Again, all under his watch, right? And then in 2021, you capture a Big 12 title. And oh, by the way, I overlooked, Matt Rhule and his team playing in the Big 12 title and then playing in the Sugar Bowl. Dave Aranda wins both. I talk about that all the time. I think he also did a very good job of recovering quickly, especially on the football side, when it was very clear that NIL was going to rule the day. And there are still some schools who have not punted on old approaches, and they are way behind the eight ball as far as where the athletic department is. And then you think, and this is what we're in right now, right? Like he gets this big extension from the university, a 10-year extension in 2022, reportedly over $3 million a year, which that's wild, right? I mean, college sports, if you don't think it's a huge business, like, wow. And when you extend your athletic director for a decade, you're definitely saying you believe the next decade of success is coming, right? And so that's why I think this is hard for a lot of us. And you look at his appointment as the college football playoff selection committee chair, and that's a tribute to Baylor. That's a tribute to Mack. And it also gives, hey, this is a local Texas athletic director who has gained major influence across the country. That does not hurt the school. It's really good for the Big 12. And then this whole thing drops. So this isn't a question. This is a statement for me. But Baylor fans, you can ask yourself this, as we are in the middle of a hot mess. There is no getting away from that. And, there are at points in statements made from the university, Mack Rhodes has admitted culpability, but I think it'd be impossible to say that right now he hasn't left this athletic department in a much better position than when he found it. Now, you could say right now, is this situation going to put such a black cloud on his legacy here that it will tarnish everything he's done? I completely disagree with that. I am out on that. I don't think so. I think that the way that the news cycle works and the way that humanity works, unless this is way worse than it is right now, which I said it yesterday, it is a very strange situation. So Lord knows what's around the next corner. But if everything stays the way it is, I would say that he has certainly left this athletic department in a much better position than when he found it. All right, Swingler, I'm curious to get your take on this. And you don't have to say more than you want to, but you're the perfect person. You're the perfect person to bring into this.
Oh, perfect person.
You are. I mean, because you're a talking head that has great experience being a loyal Baylor fan.
I've been through the trenches and I've been on the mountaintops with Baylor athletics. This is true. I will always give Mack Rhodes credit for hiring Matt Rhule. I think that is arguably the single most or second most important hire in Baylor athletics history, right up there with Kim and Scott Drew. Like, that football program could be perpetual 2 wins again, like it was in the late 90s, early aughts after the Bryles stuff.
By the way, I got to interject one thing.
Yeah, come on.
I left off the fact that he found a way to keep Scott Drew.
So I was going
to
there.
remain as head coach.
That was my next point. The two things.
That's a huge deal.
The 2 things he gets tremendous credit for are Matt Rhule, and which I believe, and I know this is a debate, so I don't got to get into it. I believe that Matt Rhule hire is why you won that 2021 championship, even though it was Dave Aranda who ultimately coached them there, and he gets credit for that. But yeah, keeping Scott Drew, not only from Kentucky, but the year before, 2 years before, there was rumors about Indiana. I mean, I think and you heard Coach Drew say it yesterday when he was asked about this. He didn't comment much, but he said, Mack and his family are friends, and I'm praying for them. And Scott Drew, he's a friendly guy, but he doesn't say something he doesn't mean.
Oh yeah,
he's not full of crap, right? So when he says they're my friends, like, I believe that. I believe him and Mack Rhodes are good friends, and that's part of why he stayed at Baylor. And so I give Mack tremendous credit for those 2 things. Baylor, in terms of generating revenue, in terms of being a player again on the national stage in college athletics under Mack Rhodes, yes, thumbs up. It is going to be hard, I think, to have. I understand what you're saying about human nature and time, and I think his tenure overall will be looked at as a success. But it does suck, Pete, that
it sucks.
Just about a decade after you had a really, really, really bad kind of scandal on the national news, right?
Yeah.
This isn't that, and I don't want to paint those 2 things as if they're the same, but it had to happen. It had to all come out the year he's on TV, representing the Big 12 and Baylor on the college football playoff as the chair of the committee. That sucks, man. That just sucks, because I said on Mosley's show, if you're living in the Northeast or on the West Coast and you don't really keep up with Baylor athletics, you have no reason to keep up with Big 12 athletics. The last 2 times you've heard about Baylor in the national news, before maybe this week and this coming week, you heard about the scandal in 2015 that came out in 2016, and then you heard about maybe the men's basketball national championship in 21. And now you're hearing about Baylor again in national news, and it's another.
I don't know that you can leapfrog December 4th or 3rd or whatever it was at AT&T Stadium, that amazing play made by McVay.
It was great.
And Dave Aranda's post-game interview on the field.
Hope you're right.
My brother Kevin called me to be like, this is an amazing moment that's happening right now.
Great. So
on ABC, you win the conference. Like, let's not just leapfrog every positive thing.
It's unfortunate that a decade later,
it sucks.
So even if the things that come out aren't egregious or terribly offensive, and you and I know enough to know this is not something likely that's going to come back bad on Baylor, on Dr. Livingstone, I think
that's
Baylor as an institution in this case is safe in my opinion. But it still sucks. It still sucks that that's the headline. And if I'm living in New York or Oregon or California.
I'm curious to that point. That's a great point you make. And I was actually going to say the other way. Like, I don't know that people around the country are when they think of Baylor, they think scandal. I do not think that. I don't. I just don't. I think they think of Robert Griffin, and I think that they think of Scott Drew and the national championships. And I do think they think of 2015.
Yeah.
I do think of that.
Yeah.
I think it's surprising. Because you mentioned, Matt Mosley and the 2020, 2002, 2003 scandal.
Yeah, Scotty B chimed in with that in the comments too.
Yeah, I think that people have kind of forgotten about that. Like, that's crazy to say, but I do think we've moved on. And that,
I hope so.
I think so. I do. I mean, when I first got to Baylor in 2017, Showtime had the documentary about it, and it was a solid documentary. It was really good. But I don't know that I don't know. I think we've moved past it. But then how do you move past a teammate killing another? I don't know. But I don't think that Baylor has that reputation of, oh, when you think of Baylor, it's synonymous with scandal. I don't.
Here's what's really clear. Outside of athletics, I think Baylor's reputation has grown tremendously under Dr. Livingstone.
Yes, sir.
Enrollment, applications, U.S., what's it called? The magazine that does the college rankings.
U.S. News and World Report.
Baylor's constantly ranked in top 10 for freshman experience. Even when I was at Baylor 15 years ago, the amount of kids from Colorado and California who were my friends were tremendous. That's growing. So I think the school is probably okay. I just hate, I don't know. I think that Big 12 championship in 21 that you mentioned and the national title in men's basketball were really healing for a lot of people to put our best foot forward after what happened in 2016. And now it feels like it's not that we've stepped all the way back there. That would be an overexaggeration.
No.
But it feels like a giant step back to, all right, well, we can't even have nice things for a decade without. And did you see the tweet with the last 4 athletic directors for Baylor?
No.
In it. The last 4, this is a 4th consecutive athletic director for Baylor that's been let go for not good reasons. And Mack Rhodes has not been let go yet. I should clarify.
Yeah, and
he's on a leave of absence. Anything could happen.
I bring it back to family issues. I'm telling you, you throw all your problems in the middle of the room with everybody else, you'll probably take yours back. And this is to Baylor fans. You're in the Big 12. You got Scott Drew as your head basketball coach. Nikki Collins kicking ass.
Thank goodness.
You're really. I believe that this football program eventually will get it turned around just because of where. And I don't think it's like a rock bottom now by any stretch. They could win 3 straight and finish 8-4 again. I mean, stranger things have happened. Is all I'm saying. There's a game out there on the field at 6:00 on Saturday night. It's going to be on ESPN2, and they're going to play the 13th ranked team in the country. There is a way out of this, and there's certainly a future ahead. But it's dark right now. There's no 2 ways about it. But this is a great school in the Big 12, and Baylor's going to move through this just fine. But right now, it sucks. There's no getting around that. I think that's it for